Hey, what's up, my friends? I am Dima, and today we're talking about one of my favorite topics and the topic you apparently want to hear about the most, according to a recent poll in the community section of my YouTube channel, California. Folks, on June 15th, the pandemic will magically be over. Hey, it's Hollywood. And our our governor, will finally allow the full reopening of the state. Hallelujah. Speaking of magic, you guys, Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, is actually open already with some restrictions. Anyhow, with all things California, there are of course exceptions and new rules. On today's video, I'm going to share the California reopening plan with you and what you need to know. So whether you live here in the state, you plan on visiting, or you're still trying to figure out whether you want to stay or you want to leave, this video is for you. And since California videos also seem to be the most popular on my channel, grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's go. All right, guys, let's hit it. Now, I've covered a lot of California-related topics on this channel, including taxes, laws, pandemic-related stuff like shutdowns, school closures, and of course, the Gavin Newsom recall election, which, by the way, is in full swing, but more on that later. You can check out my California Love playlist right over here for a bunch of videos about the Golden State. But today, we're talking reopening, because while states like Florida and Texas have been open for a really long time, and while the CDC actually said that fully vaccinated people don't have to wear masks weeks ago, here in California, we follow Gavin Newsom science, and so we needed way more time just to make sure everything was really okay, And even after reopening, we of course need more rules because we're Californians. We can't think for ourselves. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, didn't Gavin Newsom say that in California we follow the science? Well, yes, he did. But what we didn't know was that he meant we follow Newsom science, not real science. Anyhow, here's what's going on. On June 15th, California is finally fully reopening, fully in quotes. And if you're excited about that, do me a quick favor and hit the thumbs up button down below and share this video with someone that you think should know all about this. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, be sure to subscribe to the channel right down there and hit the bell icon so you're notified about all of my videos. All right, with that out of the way, you guys, I live here in California, so I'm excited. No more masks for fully vaccinated people. Although, in another one of my polls on the channel, you said you didn't really wear them, so this doesn't really affect you. No more social distancing. No more capacity limits. Woohoo! But wait, you guys, not so fast. This is, of course, California, and there are still some exceptions and some new rules that we need to talk about. So let's do it. So first, workplace guidelines still need to be finalized. So there still may be certain requirements at your job or place of business. For example, unlike in other states where this kind of thing is outlawed, in California, employers can actually require masks or proof of vaccination. That means that if you don't want to get vaccinated, or you just don't want your employer to know whether you're vaccinated or not, you may be required to wear a mask. But wait, what about privacy laws, HIPAA laws, and all that other stuff that you might be thinking about? Well, apparently this is all different, and employers and businesses will have the right to set up these new rules in California. Second, there are certain requirements imposed on MAGA events. Mega events. For any indoor events greater than 5,000 people or outdoor events greater than 10,000 people, you need verification of being vaccinated or a recent negative test. And in certain situations, masks will still be required or recommended. That's right, you guys. So essentially, while they're calling it a full reopening, it really isn't, because your company, a business, and other venues can set up their own rules around masks and vaccinations. I believe stadiums in California now have vaccinated and unvaccinated sections. Like, remember the smoking and non-smoking sections in restaurants and planes of the past? They're back. Anyway, you guys, my opinion is that this is ridiculous. If you want to get vaccinated, go ahead. If you don't, that's your choice as well. Want to wear a mask? Knock yourself out. But don't tell me what I need to do. It's America, right? Apparently not in blue states like California. Now, red states outlaw all of this nonsense, like I said earlier. States like Texas and Florida don't allow businesses or employees to request your vaccination status. They don't allow them to require masks, which is the way it should be. And lastly, let's talk about schools, which has been a really sore subject for me for over a year, if you've watched any of my videos. Here in California, we were one of the first states to have school closures, and they never really reopened. That's because the teachers' unions here are essentially political groups that are in the pocket of the California government and especially Gavin Newsom, and they have been fighting the reopening the entire time. Private schools and some public school districts have been able to partially reopen with all kinds of crazy requirements. And so on June 15th, they're all reopening without any restrictions, right? Wrong again! The United Teachers of Los Angeles, or UTLA, is one of the largest unions, and they have used the pandemic as a great time to make all kinds of crazy demands and renegotiate pretty much everything with the state, even though their demands mostly have nothing to do with health and safety. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Now, negotiations are ongoing, but as of right now, UTLA wants to keep things like physical distancing and mask requirements for all kids in the fall. Now, let me talk about this for a minute, you guys. I'm not a doctor, I don't play one on TV, but the mask requirements for kids are absolutely ridiculous. All the data shows that kids should not be wearing masks and probably never should have been wearing them in the first place. Other states where teachers' unions don't fund election campaigns have completely eliminated these requirements, but in California, they just can't let it go. I'll tell you guys, that is one reason that my kids, in all likelihood, will be going to school in a different state come the fall. It's just crazy to me that the state wants to keep making kids wear masks in school. Anyhow, I could keep talking about this stuff for a long time, but you get the point. And my question of the day for you guys, by the way, is how do you feel about California's reopening on June 15th? Are you happy about this? Are you relieved? Or do you really not care at this point? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you down in that section. All right, so meanwhile, this is all going on. Gavin Newsom is on a buy your vote campaign in the state. He's giving away all kinds of free money to everyone so that he can tell the people of California to forget all about the tyranny and the one-man rule of the last year and a half. The budget surplus that he's been touting over the last few weeks is actually projected to be way less than he thought. But what do facts like that matter when you follow Newsom logic? Anyhow, the recall election is in full swing, and there will likely be over 100 candidates to choose from come November. I did a video about YouTuber and real estate broker Meet Kevin, who's running and who has a great 20-point plan for California. You can check that out right over here for that full video. Unfortunately, you guys, none of that will matter if a majority of voters don't answer yes on the first question on the recall ballot, which is going to ask whether Gavin Newsom should be recalled. So come November, my friends, remember to get out there and recall Gavin before there isn't anyone left in California except the politicians and the homeless. And that's because, if you've paid attention, you also know that the mass exodus out of California over the last year and a half has been staggering. For the first time in history, California's population declined, meaning that we will lose a seat in the House of Representatives and we will lose electoral college votes come the next presidential election. Meanwhile, the red states, Florida, Texas, they're gaining ground. Is that a coincidence or not? Are people fleeing blue states for red states? I think so. California Democrats can pander and posture all they want, but people and businesses are voting with their feet. As beautiful and amazing as California is, people have simply had enough. You can only tax people and regulate businesses for so long until they leave. We have the nation's highest state income taxes, the highest gas taxes, which has become apparent readily right now at the pump. And we're also the most unfriendly state to businesses. That's all a terrible combination. Of course, Gavin is oblivious to all of this and thinks that it's some far right-wing conspiracy to try to get him out of office. My friends, don't be fooled by Gavin's parlor tricks. Giving away free money while we have one of the country's highest unemployment rates, people and businesses fleeing the state, and the state being held hostage by the unions and special interest groups isn't going to magically make things better. If the population trend of people leaving continues, California is in real trouble in the years to come. And by the way, I'm really not sure that simply replacing Gavin is the answer, although it will be a great start. California has become such a one-party state up and down the political aisle that we are going to need some wholesale changes in the state's politics to be able to make a difference so that people don't want to leave and so that businesses want to come here. But don't get me wrong. Let's start by replacing Gavin in the recall election. Be sure to show up, vote yes to recall him, and then pick your favorite person out of the 100+ candidates. It should be pretty fun. And on that note, thanks for tuning in today. Subscribe and support the channel. Follow me on your favorite social networks and text me at 310-706-2271 to connect with me directly. Dima